Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's NewsNow podcast installment. I would like to welcome Pamela Blackwood, the Executive Director of McNally House Hospice here in Grimsby. We're going to cover a bit of ground with Pam today. I know you've got your Hike for Hospice coming up, and we're going to touch on the new expansion possibilities and exactly where that is in the process. Also in terms of, Niagara-wide plans for expanding hospice care. But first and foremost, your most immediate concern is Hike for Hospice and letting people know what's going on and when and where and all those good things.
Yeah, thank you for having me here and the opportunity to speak about McNally House and everything that's going on there. So currently we are undergoing preparations for our Hike for Hospice. This is our 14th annual Hike for Hospice. It's taking place on October 3rd, and it is going to be in person and virtual. So people that feel comfortable hiking out in the park-like setting, we will be at Coronation Park. There's 2 times to hike, either at 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon on October 3rd, or people can have the choice of hiking virtually that day if they don't feel comfortable being in the park with other people. What we're asking people to do is to go online to McNallyHouseHospice.com. There you can register to hike. You can't hike without registering this year, just so we are aware of our numbers and being very careful of how many we are gathering together. And as well, a great opportunity to fundraise online. We have the ability for all our hikers to do peer-to-peer fundraising that they can email to their neighbors and friends and ask for pledges for them instead of going to our regular door-to-door with a pledge sheet. So we're doing everything we can to keep everybody safe.
So is that how the fundraising is done? There are no pledge sheets this year, or?
There are pledge sheets available. If people still want that traditional sheet, we can mail it out or send it out to them, or they can come by the hospice and arrange to pick one up. But we are encouraging everybody to A, register online, and B, give a go at online pledge fundraising, because we know it's very successful in that way.
Well, the reason I asked was is if people wanted to track it, if they wanted to know, if they spoke to someone and said, yeah, I'm in, how can they follow up?
They can track it electronically in their their pledge forms. Yeah, when you're fundraising online, you can track it that way, that somebody has committed these dollars to you, so it shows in kind of your little
who the originator is.
Okay. You can form teams online as well. So if you have a family, a lot of our hikers are families or people that have
dogs included.
Dogs included. They actually get little scarves to hike. So anybody raises over $100 receives a T-shirt. The Hike for Hospice T-shirt. Every year it's a different color. So we have people that have collected them for years.
Yep.
And then the dogs get a little scarf that say I hiked for hospice as well. So we welcome them. So right now our goal is about $70,000 to fundraise for this event. We were very fortunate. We had the 2 schools that always do Hike for Hospice in the spring. Cairn Christian School in Stony Creek and John Calvin Christian School in Smithville. They raised together collectively over $33,000 towards that goal. So that's incredible. So we still have a bit to go, and we're looking for hikers. I think people are hesitant about getting out.
Well, I was going to ask about that. So, like with the registration in the park and things like, I'm sure, the tables with registration and everything will be socially spaced and all those good things.
Absolutely. We, being a healthcare setting, we've been doing this day in and day out, keeping everyone safe at McNally House. So, the protocols are pretty strict for us in that aspect. So we'll be doing everything. That's why we've actually had 2 start times even. We used to have start time of only once, and we would have about 200 hikers every year. And that's our goal this year again, is to have 200. So now having it split between 2 times. And
when people register, do they choose a time then, so you know exactly how it's splitting?
Yeah, so there's 3 options when you go in. There's option 1, 1 o'clock. Option 2 is 3 o'clock. And third option is I'm going to virtually hike. And we did last year, we moved our hike into the fall because of COVID, and we decided to do it again this year. Typically, it's always the first week of Sunday in May, but now we're moved it to the first Sunday in October. I think the weather will be a little bit kinder to us than sometimes in the spring. But last year we were able to hit our goal with just virtual hikers, and everyone just hiked wherever they wanted to be. Some came and did the route that we normally do here in the downtown, and some people just chose to hike.
And
in
is
their
there one route downtown, or various lengths, or like how does the?
Yeah, there's a 1 kilometer and there's a 5 kilometer. So the 1 kilometer comes out of the park, loops around the high school, kind of, and back down in, and then the longer 5K takes you out across the park over to Robinson and then back down Livingston. So that's a good solid 5K.
Very good. Yeah. So is there anything else about the event that people need to know?
No, I think
because after there used to be like a social time.
Like,
can you even do that anymore?
Well, we used to do hot dogs and hand out things. We are very fortunate. We have Subway from Smithville sponsoring the hike this year as a food sponsor. So everybody will receive a sub
That's nice.
to go on the way out of the park. And we still have Debbie Costa and Shoppers Drug Mart as our title sponsor, so they will be there supporting us as well. But yeah, some of the aspects that we've had in the past, we've had to forego. Some of the, when we've had everybody gather together and do warm-ups, we'll still do a little bit of a memorial remembrance at the beginning to remember those we have cared for and lost. We also have a memorial walk. So if anybody's walking through Coronation Park on that day, we have these beautiful hummingbirds that have the names of people that people are hiking for in memory of. So it grows every year, and there's a good, usually 100 or so of these beautiful hummingbirds along the walkway that we can remember those who, why we are here and who we are hiking for.
Exactly. Now you mentioned just about sort of changing plans and adapting on an ongoing basis, I'm sure.
It's been a crazy
But
year.
Is there any other programming? I think I saw something from Amanda about bereavement program, so you can touch on that. But also on the fundraising, is there any other aspects of fundraising that are in the immediate future? And
yeah, we have had to pivot a lot in our fundraising, and any charity, as I will tell you, it's been a difficult last 18 months to kind of figure out how you're going to do fundraising in a safe aspect. And we've had to let go of a few things. Our trivia night, we won't be holding for a while, or our dance, which was a highly successful every year. Those things we just can't imagine yet going forward with. So hopefully in the years to come, because usually hike, our dance, the trivia, and our golf tournament are kind of our 4 key fundraisers every year that we go out to the public. We still will be doing our annual giving campaign, which runs the middle of November till the end of December. And that's usually a mailer and then information in the newspapers. And our golf tournament is going off tomorrow, and we're very pleased we've sold out. We have over 180 golfers joining us at Penn Lakes tomorrow. So we're hoping for really good weather.
I was going to say, I haven't looked.
It's calling for a sunny day, so I'm hoping it is.
Okay.
With all the rain we've had, let's hope. But we've been very successful with that event, and we're very blessed that we were able to continue with that. We actually were able to have a tournament last year because we were into
the right spot.
And
you're in the right spot.
We were able to have it. So we've been fortunate that way. But we're still running our programs. As you mentioned, Amanda, our community engagement coordinator, she and our clinicians, both bereavement and psychospiritual clinicians, have still been continuing running their programs. So the bereavement programs, we have online Zoom programs and one-to-one counseling. We are starting to open up into some group programs again. Parental loss.
So if people call to get more information or register, or what, maybe you can mention the number.
So the number to call is 905-309-4013. And you can reach out for bereavement supports or psychospiritual supports. The psychospiritual is more supporting people when they've been diagnosed with a life-limiting illness, and the supports of going through the progression of end of life and supporting the family. So we have a clinician that supports the family and the patient, and then our bereavement clinician supports anyone in our community that requires bereavement supports. We also have bereavement volunteers and psychospiritual volunteers that help with our support groups as well, that have gone through training and are doing either peer-to-peer support or being a facilitator for some of our groups.
Great. And the information on those programs is also on your website?
All on the website, McNallyHouseHospice.com. Or you can follow us on social media, because we have information up daily on all the programs that are available. So McNally House Hospice on Twitter.
Is there
Facebook.
a link for programs, or
Absolutely,
just
yeah.
to navigate it?
You can navigate through the bio on Instagram, and that'll
Very
take
good.
you through all to our programs.
Very good.
Yeah.
So the other, part of the reason you're doing all this is for the facility itself, and you've had a expansion in the works a couple of years that I'm aware of. A while.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just give an update on that and what the reason, not the reasoning, because that the service is valued and always at capacity. But just a touch on what the expansion is planned for.
So all the fundraisers I've spoken about, those go directly to the operating dollars of the day-to-day running of McNally House. But we've actually been spending almost the last 5 years visioning for what's next for McNally House. We know we do end of life well, but that's only for people that are in their last 3 months of life. And there's so many people out there in the community that need supports. When they've been diagnosed with a life-limiting illness, they need someone to walk alongside them and support them. They need their caregivers to be supported. And those supports aren't here in West Niagara right now. So what we're visioning for is, first of all, a day hospice, which is a newer concept in West Niagara, but actually across Ontario, day hospices have been in existence much longer than residential hospices. So these programs would be like a day drop-in program for both the patients and their caregivers. So caregivers could receive supports, peer-to-peer support of what they're going through, trying to care for someone, a loved one at home. It's so difficult right now with the healthcare system we have, with the lacks of supports that are coming to the homes. It's very difficult on them.
The added pressure on the whole system is crippling.
Absolutely. So, giving caregiver supports, respite for them, education, as I said, just giving them the knowledge and the tools of how to care for someone at home. Often these patients are being sent home from hospital to home and said, here you go, you need to do this, this, and this. And that's a lot for a caregiver to take in. So to have some organization or group to walk alongside them and support them in that way is much needed in our community. And then for the patient themselves, or we call them clients, just to have that support of others that are going through the exact same thing that they are. So being able to come into day hospice and look to others to be able to have normal discussions, because all they're doing is going from home to hospital to doctor's appointments, and they don't have the opportunity to really be supported as to where they are at in their journey. So that's what the day hospice is going to be like. Right now, we run programs, or had run before COVID, in the basement of McNally House. We were at capacity of about 450 people a year that we were serving. So that was through our bereavement programs, our psychospiritual programs, caregiver programs. That was our capacity. So we said, how can we expand this? And the only way we can is by expanding to an actual space. So that was our first part of our vision, was to create a day hospice. Then the second part is the actual number of beds that we have here in West Niagara. We know this community is growing and growing quickly. Auditor General in 2016 said that every community in Ontario should have 10 hospice beds in a hospice for every 100,000 people. West Niagara is growing very quickly to that 100,000 in the next few years, or we're imagining that it will be. Right now, we're at capacity almost every day. We're over 90% capacity throughout the year. We just did some data for a grant that we were writing, and looking at the data, even over the last 4 or 5 years, there is, for every person that we're bringing into hospice, there is, well, let's say we brought in 120 people in 2019. There was 24 people in the community that said, I want to come to hospice, that couldn't because we didn't have a bed available.
Yep.
So the capacity. So our vision is to grow our bed capacity to 10 beds to meet what government is saying is ideal for a hospice. So what our plan is we have the property adjacent to McNally House. We have leased that from Hamilton Health Sciences as a part of the campus of the hospital, Deer Park, McNally House, and then this piece of property. And then we will build a new 10-bed hospice on that piece of property, and then take the existing hospice and convert that into our day hospice. So the rooms that are in existence, they will become counseling rooms, and the space on the main floor will become kind of a large gathering area. Mm-hmm. And then the two will be connected through a walkway of sorts between the two buildings. So those who are in residence can participate in day hospice programs, and our staff can support both sides of the organization from having the two buildings connected.
Very good. And you didn't touch on, you mentioned that the initial discussion was related to operational fundraising. Mm-hmm. There is a separate quiet phase ongoing right now. Maybe just expand on that.
Yes, so thanks for asking for that. So last spring we made an announcement that we have launched a capital campaign. It's a $9.5 million campaign which will fund both buildings, the restoration or the rebuild of the 6-bed and the new build of the 10-bed hospice. We have formed an incredible cabinet team. Debbie Zimmerman and Marie Bain are co-chairs of that cabinet, and we are working very hard right now, going through kind of the quiet phase before we go into a more public phase. We are hoping by early spring that we will be at approximately 60 to 70% of our campaign goal, and we're on track right now. We have some announcements coming up, and we will be sharing those with you very soon, but we are very pleased as far as how fast we've gone with our fundraising and how successful we've been.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, from the get-go, there's everyone in the community immediately recognizes the need and what a great service it is to have. And, you know, I don't want to say it's easy to find support, but the support is understandable. Let me say it that way.
Yeah. Well, everybody can recognize either themselves in the stories that are told at
Sure.
McNally House,
or
know
somebody, or
it. You know, we've had over 1,100 people through McNally House from West Niagara over the last 13 years we've been open, and for every person we care for in that bed, we care for on average about 5 people in their family. So whether or not we're giving them supports in bereavement or in psychospiritual, or just supports in the hospice at the bedside. So that's a lot of people that we've touched in
lots
West
of extended
Niagara.
outreach.
Yeah. So we are very blessed that people believe in McNally House and really have risen to our call for help, and hopefully we can be very successful in the next year or so.
So just to highlight again, Hike for Hospice, date, time, etc.
October 3rd. Hike.
It's a Sunday?
Sunday, October 3rd, yes. Mm-hmm. Hiking is at 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock, or a choice of virtual. Go to McNallyHouseHospice.com. It's on the front page of the website, Hike for Hospice. You can click on that. That will take you right through the registration and everything you need to know.
And the starting point is right across the street at Coronation Park, just in behind Food Basics. Sometimes people mix up Coronation and Centennial if
I do
you're
it all the time.
new to town. So I just want to identify the proper park so nobody misses the boat unintentionally.
Absolutely. The only last thing I'll say is that we do have Debbie Costa from Shoppers Drug Mart as our title sponsor, but we still have sponsorship opportunities available. All our blocks along the hike site have an opportunity for sponsorship. So if anybody is still interested,
Contact yourself, Amanda, who does this.
It will be actually Jody.
Okay.
At McNally House.
Different extension?
You're going to put me on the spot. I can't say her extension right off the bat, but just call
the
and ask
main
for
line.
Jody. We'll get, if somebody's
You'll
calling
find
for
a way.
sponsor, we'll find a way.
That's it. All right. Well, thanks very much for coming in today, Pam.
Thanks
really
for the
appreciate
opportunity.
it.
This
and
is wonderful.
hopefully you get some new people out and have a great day. No rain and
No rain.
pleasant weather. Same for golf tomorrow.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks so much.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.